Another video. Here we are. Another MTL session. We're going to just keep cranking these little things out so you guys can check them out. Now, all through my life, you've learned good, bad, right, wrong. In lots of instances, it feels tough, to actually determine, to discern which is which. But I've found that oftentimes, there's something inside of me, deep inside of my heart, that kind of like nudges me and lets me know right from wrong. And that's not to say that doing the right thing is easy. Oftentimes, it's actually very hard. I think it was in Harry Potter, Dumbledore. He was talking with Harry about what he's supposed to do and the paths that will eventually be laid out before him. And he said something about and eventually there will be there will be the wrong path, and then there will be a very difficult path. Sometimes the right thing is definitely hard to do. Just recently, I was on the phone with some wedding clients, and my son Tate was listening to me talk to them. And what started out as just an introductory call ended up being like an hour long. And so this is a person, it was actually a couple. I shouldn't say a person, it was a couple. This is a couple that has not booked me, that has not paid a deposit, that has not put any money down, that has not said, "We are going to use you, Phil." This is just a couple who called, was talking to me and asking me questions. And we ended up speaking for well near an hour long. And I kind of gave them everything, I was giving referrals. I was telling them everything I knew. I was giving them advice. I was telling them where they should have their wedding and all these different things. In my 20 years of living in this mountain town, I was just kind of giving it all away. After I hung up, Tate was like, "Wow, that was a long phone call." And I said, "Yeah, it was." And you know what the sad thing is, Tate? And he said, "What?" And I said, "They might not even book me." And he's like, "You were on that phone call. You told them everything." I was like, "Yeah, I know." And in the moment, I could feel it. It felt right, Like a lot of people would say, never do that, What a bad business practice. It isn't the best business practice. I remember having Ben Miller live with Ann and me. He would rent a room, and we loved Ben, friend from college, dear, dear friend. He lived with us for a long time, and we traveled out of town, and we had just kind of damaged our car a little bit, and so no one was supposed to drive our car. But while we were out of town on vacation, we got a call from Ben saying that he had actually driven our car, and he had actually driven it not that far, but he'd actually flipped and rolled the car, and he was in an accident. He was okay, but the car was not okay. When we got back, I checked into the car, and the car was totaled. It was beyond repair. Like, you couldn't just sell it to a junkyard. And so many people at the time were just like, "Phil, Ann, what's going to happen? Like, what's your insurance going to do?" Well, our insurance is going to do nothing. We didn't really have the right kind of insurance on it, right? So we were just out a car. And they were like, "Well, you're going to have to make Ben pay for that." And I was like, "We can't make Ben pay for that. I know Ben. Ben's an awesome guy, and he is saving up money and paying off debt so that he can actually go to another country and work with kids that live on the streets. And I'm not going to put that on Ben. Just not going to do it. So I didn't do it. And a lot of people close to me at the time were puzzled by that and also upset by that and frustrated by that because they cared for me, right? They cared for me and Ann and my family. But at the time, like, I just knew it, right? Inside. Didn't make sense money-wise. Wasn't ever really about that. It was just about doing the right thing. Often difficult. Often upside down, backwards. Doesn't seem right. Often, though, filled with compassion and life and love and joy and grace and mercy. All of those things that we find endearing, as human beings. So, I don't know. I mean, another goofy story. I remember when our Toyota Prius, our electric Toyota Prius, got stolen out of our driveway. And happened like in a 4-hour window, happened in the middle of the night. And I woke up and I was supposed to be speaking somewhere the next morning. And I went out and the car was gone. And I was for sure like some friend or some students that I knew were playing a trick on me, and nope. Car was stolen. How was the car stolen? Well, it was unlocked and the keys were in it. And it's an electric car. It's like quiet. It's the easiest car in the world to drive away. When I called insurance, before I called insurance, several of my friends said, do not tell them that you left the car unlocked. And do not tell them that you left the keys in the car. I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm going to avoid that. I mean, it's definitely my fault, And so I'm on the phone with the insurance person. The insurance person says, so was the car locked? Did they have to break a window? And I said, no, the car was definitely unlocked. And she said, well, how'd they get the keys? And I said, well, I left the keys in the car. And she said, that's okay. Happens a lot. And it doesn't change the fact that someone stole your property. They took it without your permission. It's okay. I was like, yes, it's okay. I don't know. You in your life and in your story, where you are, I'm sure there's all kinds of daily decisions and choices that come your way. Tough decisions, easy decisions, thoughtless decisions. It would be my hope for you that as you're kind of navigating through all of those, that you would just slow down, quiet yourself, and listen. And even ask, what should I do? What should I choose? Where should I go? How should I respond? And just listen. Because oftentimes, the right thing will be whispered to you. You kind of feel a nudge. Yeah. So anyway, the right thing. I want to encourage you guys to be on the quest for that, and don't get bummed out like when you choose the wrong thing or do the wrong thing. Oftentimes that's how we learn. But in our interactions with one another, like I said, as we get back into the groove, I'm hoping that we'll be each other's keepers. I'm also hoping that time and time again, when the situation presents itself, that we can choose to do the right thing. All right? See you next time.